guest, our chief guest for the day, Honorable Justice Chalmeshwar sir, former Supreme Court Judge. A guest of honor of the day, Professor Dr. J.S. Patil, Honorable Vice Chancellor, National Law University, Assam. Our other guest of honor, Sri Praveen S. Parekh sir, Padma Shri, Senior Advocate. He will be joining us soon. And on behalf of the ICFAI University, I warmly welcome everyone on this August occasion of the opening ceremony of first virtual National Moot Court Competition 2020. To begin with the session, firstly, I humbly request from the side of organizing committee, we would like to present a bouquet to our guest, and we will ask everyone to kindly join for the lighting of the lamp. So with the permission of Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, if you kindly permit, we will begin with this.
Prachi, go ahead, please.
The lighting of the lamp.
Lighting of the lamp.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, can we proceed for the presentation of bouquet? So it's a virtual flower bouquet presentation to our honorable chief guest of the day, my lordship.
Thank you.
Ma'am, can we have our next bouquet, please?
You also do this. Yes, we have seen one of the IIT.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Our guest of honor of the day, Professor Dr. J.S. Patil, sir. Sir, it's a virtual bouquet presentation from the side of ICFAI University.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for joining us. Thank you very much, Prachi ma'am, our faculty colleague. We can close this deal now, and we will ask you again when our another guest will join. Now, again, I warmly welcome all the guests. I, Dr. Avnish Bhatt, the organizing convener of the first virtual National Moot Court Competition organized by the ICFAI Law School, the ICFAI University, Dehradun. I welcome everyone, and to just give a brief that our ICFAI Law School is having a rich culture of organizing the moot court competition every year, including we have organized in 2019 the Bar Council of India National Moot Court Competition. And due to this ongoing pandemic situation, so we have streamlined this time with the pace of the current situation. So we go for the online virtual moot court competition. So that's why we are here for the 3 days extravaganza. And to proceed with the further, I humbly request our Honorable Vice Chancellor Muddu Vinay sir to welcome the guests and other dignitaries. Sir, over to you.
Good morning to today's guest, Honorable Lord Mr. Justice Chigmeshwar and Professor Dr. J.S. Patel, V.S. Vice Chancellor, NLU Assam, and Sri Praveen H. Parekh, Padma Shri, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court, Dean Dr. Egil Kishore, and my registrar and faculty members, and today's participant. It's honor for us, ICFAI University, Dehradun, to have the Justice Chagmeshwar and the Vice Chancellor of NLU Assam be as the chief guest and the guest of honor for inaugurating this moot court competition. And it's my pleasure to invite all the three guests today for spending their time for inaugurating this moot court competition 2020. Once again, thank you very much for accepting our invitation and spending time with us, sir. Thank you very much.
Respected sir, thank you very much for your warm welcome address. Now I humbly request our Honorable Registrar Sir, Brigadier Rajiv Sethi, for his address. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. Sir, firstly, I have very warm welcome to all the guests who have taken time off and been present with us. I also would like to welcome all the participants who have come from various NLUs, various other law colleges who have decided to join us for the moot court competition, and also the judges who are going to be participating and will be judging the students. ICFAI University, Dehradun is part of the conglomerate of ICFAI universities. We have 11 of them. And the ICFAI Law School happens to be on a progress in a very large way because we have had a number of recent developments, very good webinars, as well as participants who have participated, up to 2,700 to 3,000 participants who have been participating in various webinars and the various events organized by us. There are 24 teams which are participating for this moot court competition, and all these teams have come across from the various parts of India and from some of the top law schools. Now, as you are aware that the disputes in the courts are being conducted in a virtual manner, and certainly participation in this virtual manner by the students is going to be sharpening their skills and preparing them for the future. Thank you very much. Avnish, back to you.
Respected sir, thank you very much for your address. Now I humbly request Honorable Dean Sir, Professor Dr. Yugal Kishore, the Dean of ICFAI Law School, for the address. Respected sir, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Avnish. Good morning and welcome to one and all to the first edition of the Virtual National Moot Court Competition 2020. Respected Chief Guest of the inaugural ceremony, Honorable Mr. Justice Chalmeshwar Sir, as he former Judge of Supreme Court of India, guest of honor, our the Professor Dr. J.S. Patil Sahab, Vice Chancellor of National Law University and Judicial Academy, Assam, and of course, in absentia, Padma Shri Mr. H. Parikh, Advocate, Supreme Court of India, and the Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor Dr. Buddhu Vinay Sahab, Registrar Brigadier Rajiv Sethi Sahab, the Academic Coordinator of ICFAI Law School, Madam Monica Kharola, System Administrator, Mr. Akhilesh Singh, academicians and professionals pan-India, including this university, the organizers of this competition. I will not name them because many of them are there, but they can understand. And valued participants, lady and my dear students from this university as well as other universities. I, Professor Yugal Kishore, Dean of ICFAI Law School, ICFAI University, Dehradun, wholeheartedly on my behalf as well as on the behalf of the ICFAI Law School, welcome the distinguished guests whom I named a few minutes back. I will not repeat because my time is very short, to this inaugural ceremony, and thank all of them that from my core of my heart that they have spared their valuable time to be with us today, and further request them to bless and the valued participants and students with their motivational and inspiring words of wisdom. with the permission of Honorable Lordship, I would like to submit that a few words about the ICFAI Law School, if permitted. Lordship, may I speak?
Yes, please.
Okay. ICFAI Law School, from its inception, has maintained the standard and decorum of a highly of a quality legal education to the world. This year, for its imparting such type of education, it has been ranked 6th among the top universities of super excellence in India by CSR and GHRDC survey. India Today survey of MDRA 2020 has also ranked us at the level of 26 among all the NLUs and other central government, state government, and private institutions. At ICFAI High School, in order to provide the innovative, socially relevant, career-oriented quality education, which is having a blend of professional skill and research orientation, we take the particular program of professional skill into 6 segments or 6 categories. At first, we train them through a workshop in the school. Then second, we provide or we organize inter-class competition among the students of that class only. Then we provide inter-classes program among that program. Then at the second stage, we go for the inter-program competitions. And finally, like this, the way we are doing today, we go for national programs. And then we send them to different universities for their participation in Moot Court and all other skill development programs. ICFAI University Dehradun, under its university social responsibility during the COVID-19 pandemic, has conducted many virtual programs. To name them, 8 national 8 international webinar and 22 national webinars, 7 workshops, some of them ranging for up to 7 days, 7 guest lectures ranging from 7 days to 2 days. We have conducted also 7 days faculty development program for all the law academicians and 21 days coaching program for CLAT examination to the aspirants of law graduation. Today, we are conducting the first edition of National Virtual Moot Court Competition 2020 with a motto to develop the knowledge, the professional skill and techniques, research orientation, court mannerism and etiquettes, and side by side with to inculcate in them the vision of a professional life. I welcome the 24 teams who have come today here from Pan India for the active participation in the competition with the true spirit of competition, and wish them all success. With this, I thank everyone with folded hand and over to Avinish ji.
Respected sir, thank you for the elaboration on the various facets of the ICFAI Law School, the ICFAI University Dehradun. Now, proceeding further, I humbly will be requesting our guest of honor of the day, Dr. J.S. Patil, for the address. But before that, I request my faculty colleague, Mr. Vishal Bera, to kindly introduce the guest of honor.
Thank you so much, sir. To introduce the first guest honor of the day, Professor Dr. J.S. Patil. Dr. J.S. Patil qualified in law from Karnataka University Harvard in 1977 and thereafter went on to pursue further studies from University of Mysore and earned his masters in 1979. In 1997, he also finished his PhD studies from Saurashtra University, Rajkot. Dr. Patil served as a professor in the Department of Postgraduate Studies and Research in Law at Gulbarga University from 1995 and had deputations to other colleges, including his stint from 2009 to 2013 as the Vice Chancellor of Karnataka State Law University. He is currently the Vice Chancellor of National Law University and Judicial Academy, Guwahati. We welcome you, sir, and the platform is yours, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, your mic is mute, sir.
So you need to unmute.
Unmute yourself, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Am I
sir.
audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I muted so that I will not be disturbing others. Sorry for that. Uh, Thank you for a very nice introduction. Honorable Shri Justice Chalameshwar ji, former Judge Supreme Court of India, who is the esteemed chief guest of today's this opening ceremony of the first edition of virtual national moot court competition organized by ICFAI Law School. The other guest of honor who will be joining soon, Mr. Parikh Padmashri and Advocate Supreme Court of India, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of ICFAI University, Registrar, and my dear friend, Dean of the Law School, Professor Jugal Kishore ji, other distinguished faculty members and dignitaries, and my dear student participants, 24 teams, which have joined this very historic event in ICFAI Law School from all over the country. Very good morning to all of you. We are quickly shifting ourselves from physical and offline exercises into a virtual mode. How smart we are in India, that when I was talking in terms of building ITC-enabled university when I was the founder vice chancellor of Karnataka State Law University, 110 countries, because I thought connecting them under NKN project, National Knowledge Network project, will be sort of a next generation exercise. People called me a crazy man. And then some of my friends said that even after 10 years, this kind of an exercise is not going to be practically viable. But then, my dear friends, even before 10 years, this COVID pandemic has made us to translate ourselves into these virtual activities. And my prognosis proved to be right. And now we are able to get on with this virtual activity. I'm really very happy and proud to see that ICFAI Law School in Dehradun is doing a wonderful exercise. They did not stop. They went ahead, surged ahead with all kinds of virtual activities when the whole world is gripped under this new pandemic. So this is the way in which we in different law schools and universities and colleges are striving very hard to keep up the educational activities going on. Though a lot of us are struggling because of the pluralistic character, divergence that we have in this country, and in the rural areas and the poorly equipped colleges and universities, it has been very difficult for them to cope up with the challenges that this COVID-19 has thrown open for all of us. But then the government of India and many of our friends across have been able to establish new modules, new different software, and new YouTube and other kinds of the platforms through which we have been able to keep ourselves going. Though physically we are not able to come together as schools, colleges, and universities, virtually we are striving very hard to build this kind of a thing. And in law schools also, we have the same problem. We have different categories, my lord, the law schools in the country, from the private, lower middle class, and the very, very poorly equipped law schools to the creamy layer national law universities with very eminent some of the private law schools. So legal education in India, because of the 7 to 8 different categories of legal education institutions, is also in a state of flux. Some are giving a premier legal education institutions are giving wonderful, a very, very qualitative legal education, whereas some of the private poorly equipped law colleges, it's less said than, better the way things are happening in those days. If we go back to our days, law was the last resort. But today, with these NLUs and other, the premier educational institutions, very, very intelligent students after the 12th standard are focusing themselves, and their first priority is legal education. They write CLAT, LSAT, and then why with each other 50, 60,000 people write every year these tests and then try to get into premier legal education institutions. I, being a vice chancellor of one of such institutions, understand the kind of competition that is there in entering into the portals of these kinds of legal education institutions. And mooting has become a big a cultural phenomenon in our country. More than 300 and odd, the moot court competitions are there, hosted by different law schools, and also the Bar Council of India, JSUP, and other, the private organizations as well. So mooting provides our young law students the techniques, skills that they need when they go in for the real legal profession. Many of the students of law, after passing out, will go into litigation and other types of legal professional activities. For them, this mooting has become a good, the ground for exercise. Though in moots, we will not be giving them all the skills that are required for a legal practitioner before the trial court, appellate courts, and also the Honorable Supreme Court of India. But at least we are opening up a window through which we will be able to expose our law students to different, the nitty gritty of legal profession. And alas, because of this pandemic, we have not been able to congregate ourselves physically in different law schools and have that physical kind of an interaction. Our young boys and girls used to exchange thoughts and pleasantries. It was a gala activity, inaugural ceremony, and also valedictory ceremony in these moot court competitions. We really greatly miss those kinds of wonderful, the activities that we used to do in the yesteryears. But yet again, whether it is a virtual bouquet, virtual, lighting of the lamp, singing of the inaugural song, and then doing these kinds of exercises, we have been able to translate ourselves from that physical mode into the virtual mode. The only difficulty that we face in this virtual mode is the technical snag. Glitches sometimes we face. While we are conducting our activities, suddenly something happens. We are not 24/7 electricity, energy supported, the institutions across the nation. Even courts, I'm afraid, are not having that kind of a facility, especially at the trial level. So with all these, the shortcomings, we have been able to go on the virtual mode and then do these exercises. And I am told by Dr. Yugal Kishore that they have some foreigners issue as a, the mooting problem. And I don't want to get into that frame because it is ultimately left to the students who are participating, the teams, to come out with their briefs and make a presentation. I'm sure that they will have come back with a lot of good research, looking into the different decided cases, the legislated law, international law, conventions, multilateral treaties, and then the case law at the international level and at national levels. And then we'll have come well prepared to make presentation. 24 teams is a big game. It is a good number in this virtual moot court competition. And I look forward for all these teams to do their best in this category, and look forward for them to take the challenges of the new cutting edge knowledge that is shaking up the whole world, be it, the disruptive technology, be it blockchain technology, be it artificial intelligence, be it machine learning. Even the Honorable Supreme Court of India is also thinking aloud using some of these things, including artificial intelligence in judicial process, and how all these things are going to help us in building a new jurisprudence in our justice delivery system and process. I look forward for young and smart participants to very vigorously participate And each one of you 24 teams are winners by the very fact that you have registered yourselves for this, the competition. Whoever may win, whoever may become runners up, but all of you are going back with great experience. I'm 100% confident about that. With that, my Lord, salutations to you and all my dear friends who have organized this event, and very best of luck to all my 24 team student friends. Thank you. Jai Hind. Over to you, sir.
Respected sir, thank you very much for the intellectual and thought-provoking words from your end. And we will ensure that we will conduct this moot court flawlessly, and we'll try to remove all the technical glitches which may arise during this competition. Thank you for your motivating words. Before proceeding further, I would like to tell everyone that our another guest of honor, Padma Shri Senior Advocate Praveen H. Parekh sir has joined. Sir, we wholeheartedly welcome you, and I request our faculty, Prachi Mishra ma'am, to virtually present a bouquet on behalf of the ICFAI University, Dehradun. Respected sir, we wholeheartedly welcome you on this opening ceremony. Thank you very much, ma'am. Prachi ma'am, now we can proceed further. Okay, thank you. Sir, to begin with the session with other perspective, and we would like to have your address now. And before that, I humbly request again Mr. Vishal Bera to kindly introduce Praveen sir.
Thank you so much, sir. It is my privilege to introduce among us second guest of honor for the day, Padma Shri Praveen H. Parekh sir. Padma Shri Praveen H. Parekh sir is a senior advocate in the Supreme Court of India. He has been the president for Supreme Court Bar Association for 6 long term, which is still a record in the history of Supreme Court Bar Association. He is currently the president of Indian Society of International Law also. Sir has been practicing now for the past 52 years in the history of law, and he has been conferred the national title Padma Shri by the Honorable President of India. We warmly welcome Sir to the first virtual national moot court competition. Sir, over to you. Sir, can you just unmute yourself? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Honorable Mr. Justice Chalmeshwar and my dear friend students, I will not like to make lectures because you are used to getting lectures every day. I like to talk to you. I passed my law in 1965, 55 years back. I have seen what happened during last 55 years. In 1965, law was almost the last choice for any student. They would go in the medical, in the science, they'll want to become engineer, they would like to become a doctor, but nobody will like to become a lawyer, those good old days. Today, the law is the first choice by a large number of students, and that I'm very, very happy. And it is required because today our judiciary has also been doing a lot for the people. The things which earlier judiciary said they have no business, everything is to be done by the government. It is not our business. Now there is no business which judiciary cannot do, and they have not done. They have, wherever they find that there is injustice, they intervene, and it is now accepted by the executive authorities that the judiciary has a right to correct them or to tell them something in advance that this you can do, this you cannot do. Do's and don'ts are laid down by the judiciary, sometimes in advance also. Now, other power the judiciary has is to strike down the laws made by parliament or the state legislature. They always had the right to strike down the executive authorities' decisions, etc. But it was doubtful whether they could strike down the laws. There again, the judiciary has done a lot. They are not only striking down the decisions of the authorities, but they also strike down the laws. They say that yes, Parliament has passed this, maybe unanimously, but we find that that is violating with the principle, our fundamental rights in the Constitution, and we interpret that Constitution articles in a particular way, and this law is not valid, and therefore that is struck down by the judiciary. And that has been, there was a time when judiciary said, no, it's not our business, it's the business of the Parliament. If they have done something, let it be. It has gradually changed, and it has now completely changed, that there is even the executive authorities know that anything that they do. But not only the executive authorities, even the legislations which are made by the authorities, the court can say that if you are violating the fundamental rights, or if you have not complied with certain statutory provisions also, we will strike it down and will not allow you to impose or these judgments. Now that makes it very, very important for the judiciary. Now the students are, therefore, today you will become after passing your law, you will become a lawyer, you will become a judge. And but what I don't like today, large number of law students say that the day I pass the law, I just want to become a judge. That will be at the lowest rung of the judiciary. He wants to go on day one. You are not a full lawyer merely because you have got a degree of law. You become a full lawyer only when you practice law. When you practice law, you realize what you are supposed to say, what you are supposed not to say. And what sometimes you realize that, well, if I had not said this, or I had not said in this way, I would have won the case, but I did something. Now, all this, your teachers can't teach you. This you will know when you have a matter, you'll go in the court, and you will find, and then you will come home and say, my God, why did I use this word? Why did I put it this way? And the judge decided against me if I had put it. So all this you can learn only when you practice. So for heaven's sake, I don't want the students who are listening to me today, don't say on day one, I'll become the lowest judge in the hierarchy. Please don't do it, because you are not a lawyer by passing the law degree. You become a lawyer only when you practice, according to me, minimum 5 years. Then only you become a lawyer. Now, in fact, a large number of judges, I travel a lot, and when I meet the judges in the different countries, they say that, oh my God, your judiciary is doing this, your judiciary is doing this, and we can't do it. And I don't think judiciary has a power to do it. But the stage has come when they have started liking our judiciary. They say, yes, it is very good, because what the judiciary is doing for the common good, for the good of the people. And if the executive authorities have failed to in doing it, they do it. The interpretation of the Constitution also. Now, Article 14 wants equality. Then Article 19, you have got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, gives you various powers. Now, what those powers are to be interpreted ultimately by the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court has interpreted those powers to say that it is giving a wide way in which those powers are to be exercised by the judiciary, so that there is nothing which the judiciary cannot do. Of course, the judiciary does, if there is a judgment of the lower courts or high courts, the final court is the Supreme Court. You can go up to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court may say yes, no, or we can change the judgment of the High Court. But if the Supreme Court has delivered a judgment, then it is binding. In fact, the question of what are the powers of the judiciary also came in a large number of cases where the government argued before the judiciary that, sorry, you are judges, you're supposed to judge on the basis of the law which we make. You cannot change the law. You cannot say that the law is illegal or unconstitutional. Or in the facts of this case, you cannot do so. In most of these cases, wherever such objections were raised, the judiciary said, no, I have got the power because I have got the power given by the Constitution. And for that power, if necessary, if I find that what you have done is unconstitutional, then it's my duty as a judge to say that this is unconstitutional and give the consequential relief. The appointment of judges. Now, it's very important that what type of persons are appointed as judges, because that is, it will depend on whether the judge will be independent and whether the judge is competent. These are the two things required of a judge. Now, normally, our constitution says that the president shall appoint. Now, president will mean normally the aid and advice of the cabinet. If it is a central, then the aid and advice of the central government. And if it is a state, then governor means the state government. Therefore, that is what is said. But the Supreme Court, by a large number of judgments, have said that yes, it says president or it says governor, but if they don't do their job properly, we as judiciary will do it. So not only they strike down what is done wrongly by the authorities, but they also strike down laws itself. If the law says something, they say this law is contrary to rights of the citizen, then these laws go out. Laws are made, they have been signed and by the parliament or the state legislature, but the court will say, yes, you have made the law, but your law is contrary to the constitution. And therefore, we as a judiciary have right to say this will not be implemented. And thereafter, it cannot be implemented, although it may remain on the table of the parliament, etc. But sometimes they try to overcome this by making another law, or sometimes saying that this law, notwithstanding anything said by any judgment, this law will be valid, etc. That also a large number of orders have been passed by the Supreme Court that you shall not do, because citizens have powers, and citizens' power, the judiciary has a right to go and protect them. So if I find you are violating the citizens' rights, then we will come as judiciary and we will give this. In fact, the people of India have a lot of respect in the judiciary, which is very important, because the power the judiciary has will also depend on how much is how do the people of India think of judiciary, and that is very good. By and large, of course, nothing can be 100% correct, but by and large, our people of India believe that the judiciary is good, judiciary is doing a good job, and it is that factor also which weighs with the executive authorities not to do something contrary to the judgments of the judges, because they say if this is what the Supreme Court of India has said, judiciary has the executive authority has no business to try to get away from these decisions. And friends, I'm very happy that the students are there, and now I have become 5 years younger from the beginning of my speech till now. And I wish all the best to our dear students, and please work hard, please work hard, please work hard. Thank you.
Respected sir, thank you very much for your sparkling wordings, and I hope the student must have taken a note of what you have stated. Now, to proceed further, now it's the time for our chief guest for his address we all are waiting for. Before that, I humbly request my faculty colleague to kindly introduce the honorable chief guest, Honorable Lordship.
Thank you so much, sir. It is my very high privilege to introduce among ourselves the chief guest of the day, Honorable Shri Justice Jasti Chelameshwar sir. Honorable Shri Justice G. A. Chelameshwar sir is the former judge of Supreme Court of India. He retired on 22nd June 2018 as the second most senior Supreme Court judge. Earlier, he was the Chief Justice of Kerala High Court and Guwahati High Court, where he is perceived as having done exemplary work on the green benches there. Some of the notable judgments of Honorable Sri Justice J. Chelameswar Sir are on freedom of speech, which includes the Shreya Singhal case and the Aadhaar judgment and the National Judicial Accountability case, which he presented his verdict on. We extend a warm welcome to Sir, and we are highly obliged to have Sir among with us. Sir, over to you. Over to you, Lordship.
Thank you. Now, good morning to all the participants, members of the academic community. Academic community includes necessarily the students also, not only the teachers. It's my pleasant duty this morning to inaugurate this National Moot Court competition organized by ICFAI University. Now, the rest of my speech is meant only for the youngsters. Those who have completed their law course, teachers and Supreme Court senior advocates might as well not listen to me because they are not going to benefit from my speech. My dear young friends, you have heard the various shades of views presented by the predecessor speakers. Yes. Two things stand out from the various speeches, at least what I noticed is law was not a very preferred profession when all of us or most of us got into the law college. Yes, it is a fact. And today it's a very preferred profession. The question is, why has it become such a preferred profession? In my view, the answer is very simple. It is the economic factors which make this difference. A successful lawyer, ask Mr. Parikh, he must be knowing it much better than me. A very successful lawyer in the Supreme Court makes much more money than a very successful film star like Amitabh Bachchan or Rajinikanth or anybody like that. Now, eventually the world is driven by the economic motives. So that's what makes this legal profession. Post-globalization, post-1990, the Indian economy's structure has changed completely. The kind of money that is in circulation in the market necessarily had its impact on various aspects of life, including the legal profession. I would like to name but one of the India's topmost lawyers, long back in 1980s when I briefed him in a particular matter. So we had to pay a retainer to this lawyer. He's a big lawyer, one of the top, maybe top 10. I don't want to name any further. And I remember that retainer I paid those days was 7,500 rupees. I don't think even a dog in front of Mr. Parikh's office would look at anybody going with a 7,000 rupees check today. No, I'm not trying to denigrate anybody. There's a change in the economic structure of this country, the kind of money which has come into the market. Necessarily, the profession became a very attractive profession. A lot of youngsters. Yes, good. It's wonderful that more and more people take to law. Not because it pays you more money. That's only incidental, according to me. Making money is an incidental aspect of the study of law. The study of law has a much higher purpose: how to organize the society, how to create and sustain a orderly society where a rule of law prevails and people live in peace. And in the background of the Indian constitutional system, how do the people of this country secure or make an effort to secure the goals enumerated in the preamble of the Constitution? And in the process, what is the role of lawyers? The lawyers will not necessarily be the practicing lawyers or the arguing counsel, the combative lawyers in the court hall, the law students, the law teachers, and those who studied law but get into the administrative wing of the state in various capacities, for that matter, even the legislative wing. At any given point of time in any legislative body in this country, we have considerable number of law graduates. The knowledge of law never goes waste, provided if it's used with appropriate perceptions and appropriate goals in mind. Now, our generation, now we're on the way out. Whether we fared well or ill, that's for history to decide and record its verdict a few years later. It was any one of us, the older members of this gathering today. But for you youngsters, I can only tell you this today. You are about to enter a new world. I'm not talking about COVID. The problem of COVID and the post-COVID world itself is going to have its own new dimensions. Anyway, which part of it which you are already tasting in these virtual hearings and virtual webinars and so on and so forth. That is only an incidental part of it. The progress of science and technology, the tremendous strides made in the field of artificial intelligence and biotechnology are going to change the world beyond all recognition by 2050. These are not my words. Very, very eminent people who have studied these branches. If you want a ready reference, I must suggest to the youngsters, if some of you must have, I'm sure, must have read that book. There is a wonderful book released about a year back by a famous writer called Yuval Noah Harari, a book titled 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. Those of the youngsters who have not read this book, I earnestly request all of you to read it so that you'll have an understanding of what is going to be the shape of human life in the next 30, 40 years, because you people are going to be there. At least I and Mr. Parekh will certainly not be there for another 40 years. We have already crossed that mark long back. But some of the teaching members might be very old who won't be there. But you youngsters, I wish you a long 100 years life, and you will be there to watch this change after 30 years and gear up for that. Second and more important is, because of the various historical forces, the march of the historical forces, the economic factors, the technology, the role technology played in human life, and the fallout of the technology. See, it's the technology which enables people to travel all over the world so comfortably and so frequently nowadays. When we were children, at least people of my generation were there, somebody in the family, somebody in the village, somebody in the neighborhood going to US was a great event. Well, I know people today who, barring this COVID period, I know people who make a monthly visit to United States. For some reason or the other, business or children are there. XYZ reason, professional lawyers, some of these big lawyers. How many times do you go, Mr. Parekh, in a year average? No, you don't have to disclose. But all this is possible because of the advancement in technology. The facility which the technology provided is the faster rate of travel and the more economic, the mode of travel. So now it's possible for somebody to travel with relatively lesser expense. See, for example, even domestically, flights have become very affordable. For somebody like when we were children, flying was only meant for Maharaja. I don't know how many of the youngsters know this. For a long time, Air India's icon used to be the Maharaja, because it was only meant for that kind of people, not for a common man. But now you get into a flight with the coming in of the economic flights. Well, anybody could be, the next man could be your college's Mali. I'll not be surprised. I'm not saying that they should not travel. No, I'm only trying to emphasize that these changes have taken place in the field of economy and the social order. Now, but with all these things necessarily, a whole new political system, though facially it is the same political system which we believe is continuing, but if you analyze the quality of the political system, if we analyze the movement of the political system, which not only in this country, all over the world, though facially all of us talk about democracy which we know through our textbooks, is modeled on the understanding of the 19th century social structure and the legal order. From there, now I think there are a lot of changes in the democracy, and especially, I'll just give you one example to understand. When we are taught in the constitutional class, the first check on the executive excesses, executive abuse of power, is their answerability to the legislative bodies like the parliament or legislative assembly. Means nothing today in the modern political system of party-driven legislative bodies, because the members of the legislature, the executive members of the legislature necessarily belong to the majority segment of the legislative body. And the party discipline prohibits, if not explicitly, by necessary implication, by practice, by convention, prohibits any member of that party to which the executive belongs from raising any question about the misconduct, if at all, of the member of the executive or the executive part of the system as a collective body. On the other hand, though it has its own purpose when it was enacted, when the 10th schedule was introduced into the constitution, which made it compulsory for a member of a political party to vote in accordance with the whip issued by the parties, that basic concept of answerability to the legislative body is gone thereafter. Now, how many of the members of the legislative body use that authority to question the wrongdoings of the executive is a different question. But today, it simply doesn't exist. So what I'm trying to say is, these are some of the changes which I can indicate to you in this limited time. But in the process, a lot of changes have come in the system, in the political system, which necessarily impact the legal system. And these changes, my dear young friends, are very profound. You only need a very keen eye to observe what are the changes that are taking place in the political legal system, how they are going to impact the society. Unless you take these factors and study them very carefully, the progress of technology, the change in political order, and the consequential effect on the legal system, you will certainly not be able to play a great role in this. Okay, some of you may simply succeed by the simple nuts and bolts operation. But if you wish to become great lawyers, if you wish to impact the history of this country as members of citizens of this country, you better study these aspects. Make full use of this period of your student career, and take full advantage of the events like the Moot Court, because these are the occasions when you not only get your opportunity to exhibit the skills which you have acquired, an opportunity to observe the skills and the intellectual levels of your fellow students from across the country, from other parts of the country, how they are thinking, how they are growing, and how they are perceiving the nation and its problem. You get an opportunity which most of us didn't have as young law students, which you have today thanks to technology and changing circumstances. Make a good use of it. I wish all of you, all the participants, all the best. And as it is said, ultimately in a competition, it doesn't matter who wins or who doesn't win. It is the game. It is the pleasure of participating in the game. It's a game. It's an intellectual game. It's a pleasure of participating in the game that really should matter. Take all these competitions in that spirit. I wish you all the best and success in life. Thank you.
Respected sir, thank you very much for the blessings to the students, and thank you very much for the presentment of the dynamics of law and dynamics of life. So we are highly indebted to all the guests who are here and spared their valuable time for this opening ceremony. Before we close, I humbly request Honorable Justice Chalmeshwar sir to kindly declare this first virtual National Moot Court competition as open.
I declare that the first national moot court competition undertaken by ICFAI open.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. And now I humbly request our academic coordinator, Monica Kharola, ma'am, for the vote of thanks, please. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Avnish. A very warm welcome to all those who are gathered here for this inaugural of the virtual National Moot Court competition conducted by ICFAI Law School, ICFAI University, Dehradun. I take this opportunity to wholeheartedly thank our chief guest for the occasion, Honorable Justice Chalmeshwar, former Judge, Supreme Court of India. Sir, your words have highly motivated our students and you have opened to them the whole ambit of how this society is changing, how technology are going to bring in new aspirations, and our talented students of the present generation are sure to take your advice and go on this path. And I'm sure that they have been motivated, and your being here itself has given them the thought-provoking and aspiring for becoming greater and achieving greater heights. Thank you once again, sir, for being here and making this event memorable. I would also like to give my gratitude of thanks to the guest of honor, Professor J.S. Patel, Vice Chancellor NLU Assam, and Padam Shri Praveen H. Parekh, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India. Thank you, sir, for very well portraying and giving us how the students can take up new challenges in the legal field and how they should learn by going into the courts, learning the nitty-gritty of lawyering and becoming great lawyers. We do need great lawyers, and I'm sure you will be a great motivating factor for many of the students, especially our fresh batches, and of course for the participants also. Thank you, sir, for being with us. I would also like to thank our Vice Chancellor and Registrar, sir, for their constant support and motivation. Thank you, sir. Thank you to the Dean ICFAI Law School for guiding all our programs in making them successful. My heartfelt gratitude to all the judges who will be participating in the moot court competition and helping out in bringing out the best in the participants and will help us in making this competition a success. To all the participants from all over India, I wish you all the best. As you have heard from the chief guest and the guests of honor, this is not only a challenge, it is a process by which you are exposed to your peers and you will learn. So, like it has been rightly said, that your participation in this competition alone has given you an opportunity to be exposed and for you to learn your skills and which will help you in the coming days. So thank you for being with us, and I'm sure that you will do your best and you will come out all winners. So thank you. I would also like to thank the Moot Court Committee and all the people who have helped in this, who have taken up the pains, Dr. Avnish, and all the people who have helped us in bringing us the judges, Vishal and others. I thank you on behalf of ICFAI Law School, ICFAI University, for making this a success. So all the best for this event, and I thank all the judges for being so gracious and for coming to us. We look forward to you and to be a part of ICFAI Law School's events, and we'll be very happy to invite you to our campus. Thank you, sir. Thank you to all the participants.
Thank you.
So,
Sir, respected Lordship, with your kind permission, can we close the ceremony?
yeah. So I
So
can
I'm very
exit.
much thankful to the guests today. They have come. You have come all the way. Lordship, yourself and J.S. Patil Saab, under whom I have worked for quite a long time, and Padmashri Mr. Praveen Saab. So with folded hand, I convey my thanks to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
everyone, for joining.
Now close.